Hey everybody, I'm Mark Corradetti. I'm here to talk about my gear. I brought a couple basses and a small amp and my pedal board because I'm here at Tsunami Cables today in Southern California. They were gracious enough to have me down. I'm very happy to represent their products. I've plugged up my pedal board and got some all new cables, and I'm here to tell you these cables are the bomb. Now, a guy like me that just basically a plug in and play player, they always said, hey, the thicker the cable the better. But I've learned something tonight, that it's not just the thicker the cable the better when it comes to your signal path. These guys, and some of these things are a little bit over my head, but I'm sure you guys can understand when I tell you that your ears will not deceive you. These guys use high quality parts and components. I mean, enough to where I've replaced all my cables, and that's a lot of cable. Now, I do a lot of studio work where I'm plugging into a direct box and Avalon and really high quality stuff. I have to have a good sound. I can't have crackles, I can't have any of that. I don't get anything. The only thing I hear is from the amp. It's a little bit of a fan. That's no big deal. But enough of that. I'm going to talk about my, going to go through everything, what I have here, what I'm using, and just see what you think. To begin with, this is a Steven Sukop 5-string bass. Steven Sukop is from New Mexico. He makes incredible instruments. I've known him for almost 35 years. We met at Berklee College of Music. It's beautiful. I always use GHS strings. That's on all my basses. Bartolini pickups are a standard as well. It's got a really terrific bridge. Now, I'm not a guy that could tell you what kind of woods are on these things or anything like that. I'm just not that guy. I call it Unga Bunga wood. Okay. Now, at the risk of sounding like an amateur, I just don't know. I just know it sounds good. That's really all I know. But I do know master volume, bass, treble, and a blend knob. And when I'm trying to dial in a good sound for the track, or with my amp or something, that's what I go by. These things, ears. Now it's a neck through. It's beautiful. Steven Sukop could tell you more about it. There's a battery in here. It's a 9-volt. It's active electronic. Bartolini pickups. He does really good work. Now, this is a 22-year-old bass. I've had it a long time. Put a little Centaur up there. That's beautiful. The gauges are, I think 130, 100, 80, 60, and 45 or something like that. But, people at GHS take care of me. They know what I like, and I don't need to know all that stuff. I need to know about the notes and what I'm going to be playing. So enough of that. Now I'd like to show you my amp of choice that I use quite a bit. It's called Epiphany. Okay, it almost looks like Epiphany. They're out of New York. Nick Epiphany makes some great gear. Some really good people use this stuff. It's a class D, I believe. Really small. It's 1,000 watts. Have the tone controls nearly flat. I just like a natural sound type of thing. It's got a mid cut. It's got a vintage, where is that? You're right there, vintage knob. You get a nice vintage tone if you want to emulate. It's kind of like a tube sound. There's a mute button, master volume, gain, passive or active, a little mid cut. Again, I keep everything except the bass a little bit, mostly right on the flat side. And when I'm not playing, I can mute it. If I'm, taking a break, I can mute it. I can take it off when I'm ready to play. So that's awesome. Now, these cabinets are really nice too. This is also Epiphany. It's a 210 cabinet. The good thing about what they're making up there in New York is that they switch from 4 to 8 ohms. So if I use 2 of these cabinets, I switch them both to 8 ohms to make it a 4 ohm load for the amp. If you're interested in such things. If I use one cabinet, it's a 8 ohm load type of thing. So that's pretty good for guys like me that don't know a heck of a lot. I just know how it sounds. Now, if we go to the pedal board here, live I use this thing. I really like a lot of tone options in my sound. So here we've got, this is called a dark glass microtubes 7K Ultra. It's a mainly a preamp for me. Also has a distortion patch in it, which I really don't use too much, and it's really good. Let me bypass it. Now it sounds good. Without it, but when I put it on, kind of boosts the sound up a little bit. I can take the master, dial in a few more mids if I want to. You know, I like to up the bass a little bit. After all, we're bass players. We like the bass. Nice clear sound. From there I go into, it's a compressor, it's a Keeley makes these, and basically it just grabs the signal a little bit. You can tell by these lights over here. If it peaks out too much, you know, it kind of takes the high level and just it kind of brings it down to a certain threshold. But that's a whole another ball game. Then in the next in the line, we've got what we call a Corona chorus. Sometimes you like to use a little chorus pedal when you're, you know, doing some kind of a solo thing. It just kind of gives a little shimmering effect. Kind of nice. I use that sparingly. Next, I find myself using this envelope filter quite a bit, because a lot of things that you do require a little bit of a funky sound, you know? Kind of funky, you know? I kind of like that. And then at the last, second to last, I've got an octave pedal. And that kind of gives a good growling effect. Sometimes, I'll tell you what sounds really good is both the envelope filter and the bass octave pedal. That's kind of a neat sound. And then last but not least, I got a little reverb, which is kind of cool, and it kind of sounds like this. Here's a little trail at the end. That's what that does. So I use those things pretty sparingly. For the most part, I keep my this pedal for the EQ and the compressor on, just for a good tone, and then the other things are just you know, at the end of the chain, just to make a little bit of a you know, more of a statement. You know, I don't overuse those things too much, but they're there if you need it. But I'll tell you one thing: these Tsunami cables, running from one to the each, you know, I'm sitting here, I can't believe the difference. I'm serious. I really want you to try these out. I mean, if you won't be disappointed. I mean, they're not just cables. You know, you go to the, you know, Guitar Center or wherever, and you know, oh, I got to get a few cables. You know, take a minute and finish your rig. Get good cables. Get Tsunami cables. They're awesome, man. I can't believe it. You know, so thank you, you guys. I mean, you guys are just awesome. You know, so but that's kind of it. That's how everything runs. So thank you, Keith, and if anyone has any questions, contact Keith at Tsunami Cables. He'll set you right up. Okay? Have a great day. Thank you.